Evening all. Evening, ladies and gents. I'm Bill Patel. I'd just like to say I'm not related to Vanish in any way, so yeah, we've been going about 5 years, started from nothing, built up our portfolio as we've been going, and we do things maybe a little bit differently from Jim. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we'll see. And I'll hand over to James for the moment.
So I found out I've got a new name this evening, especially for you guys here. So my name is now James Grady, as opposed to everybody else in the world that knows me as James O'Grady. So Occupy exists for 5 years now, and we, with HMOs, took a different approach in a different town compared to where most people may be putting all their energy in. And so picking Luton as a deprived at that point in time property hotspot that it is now, we're seeing massive growth and massive change. But we're in their early days and deciding to change HMOs in terms of what they were normally known as on its head completely, and putting something different into the marketplace that we actually didn't know whether it was going to be of need, but we soon found out. So imagine so we love living, that's our ethos, and it's just trying to turn around what people's perception is of shared living. So turning something like that into that. Turning property like that we buy run down and making it sing a little bit better. Tired looking on a swan. Well, I'll just go back to that one actually for a second. So you can see how we build furniture. If you have a look there, you'll see quite closely the beds are made out of pieces of furniture. They're not a bed that you buy. We construct it, we buy the pieces, put it all together. That bed never breaks. We've been doing it 5 years. We've never had to change a bed yet. The mattresses, time to time, that's different, but the actual bed structure, everything is stuck down, nailed down, screwed down. Nothing can move in the property bar the chair. So that allows longevity, unbelievably, because we kind of have this fair approach that if, you know, this old kind of tired approach that people, landlords especially of old, probably took advantage a lot of the time of tenants. So if you want to turn that on its head completely, applying fairness means that we're buying furniture like a typical wardrobe, or that desk that you see there is 60 quid. So if the tenant does damage it, there it is, that's the IKEA part number. You can go buy it yourself, or we can go and we'll charge you this much money to replace it for you. But at least it's fair. They're kind of understanding. We help them out with the whole process at the beginning so they know what to expect on the moving out part. So Bill will come to that later on. But basically, you can see that what we're doing really, that's any different to what might be HMO in some other area. We've thrown out the Maggie and White. That's quite a speciality we've seen in HMOs over the years, and any rental property, and applied something different. You can see we've got a kitchenette there as well. So this is a bit of a debate we're currently having with local planners in Luton. So we're trying to inform them that they should love living and love what we're trying to do for the town, but we're still having this debate. But at least it's an ongoing discussion. So we've put them in, and now we're talking to them and seeing how it's going. So under a 6-bed, we tend to try and add some sort of practicality into each room. That gives their tenants, you've got storage in each bed, you've got kitchenettes there. Sometimes we put in the hobs, sometimes it might not be, depending on the property and the size of the room. So everything can be flexible depending on the space you have. So there's Darren. So Darren's not here tonight, unfortunately, or fortunately, but he sends his commiserations that he's not here. But that's Darren looking at a property.
Looking very confused.
Looking very confused. So we turn that one into that, and that's just a simple thing. You can see what's on the wall there. That is just wallpaper. That's £27 on eBay, and it can really, really change the look of a place. You liking it? So let's say everything revolves around the impression you give. So the perception, as we say, we go back to the perception. This perception carries through to, of course, your tenants. So when they ring up, as from UPAD earlier on, where has he gone? So the marketing pictures, what pictures you put up online, when they come round, they'll ring up and go, are the pictures true? They certainly were saying that a couple of years ago. Now there's a lot more people adding to this and doing the same sort of thing. So that's truth. That's actually what we do. That's how a property looks. So we dress it, make it look that great. When a tenant comes in, guess what? I'll have it. Thanks very much. When can I move in? Where's deposit? There it is. So they love it. You've got all the other teams. We work with investors. So investors come and look at something like this day one, and then we turn it into that. all the other teams that you work with, because you've got to build your team, haven't you? If you're building a business, building a portfolio, you need the guys that are working with you financially. You've got the buyers that are maintaining the property, building the property. So if they buy into what you do, and the tenants are buying into what you do, and then the planners buy into what you do, you've got a great business. So that's it from me. I'm going to hand over to Bill. But basically, we believe in everyone, and everybody can love living. And that really does go round on a big wheel. Go on, Bill.
Okay, so do you want to click along, or do you want me to take it? Okay, so James has gone through all of that. You can see we like doing things a little bit differently, and we try to think differently from the average landlord. So as you've seen from a couple of the photos. So here's one of the deals we've done. Very straightforward, very standard. It's actually one of our smaller properties, but just shows you how we changed a 3-bed into a 7-bed very easily. Now, there's a little catch with this. The 7th room, we're waiting on planning, but all the infrastructure's gone in, and we will build that after we get planning. We have done it without planning before, and had to argue with the planners. Wouldn't advise it. Jim has a bit of fun with that, I think, but it's not. It is quite time consuming as well. So
is that a coffee moment, Bill?
Yeah. So, whoops, we've built 7, but this one we haven't, and we've structured it in a way that we can add the 7th quite easily. So that's the icing on the cake for us when we finish the development, and we can get that 7th. Now that might not happen for a year, that might not happen for 2 years, but once we've got the plan and we can build it with externally and not disturb the tenants that are in the property at the moment. So it gives us and we always try and structure that now. If we've got a deal, the 7th makes it for us, and we always try and structure it in that way. So that's fairly straightforward. And the room sizes, as you can see, it's not one of our biggest ones. This is actually one of our smaller properties, but all the room sizes, we're very, very clever with where we're putting furniture, and we always plan it out to the millimetre of exactly where everything is going to go. So drawings are a must before we do a deal. Now look at that.
Is that one of ours, Bill?
Now, any of you put that up there?
Anybody recognise it?
We thought we'd go on and see if we can find a comparable to ours when we were putting this presentation together. That took us 30 seconds to find. They couldn't even be bothered to do the bed. It's seriously, I mean, the investor that's thinking of putting that up and, comparing to one of ours, okay, the price is a little bit different, but I don't know how many leads that's getting. I really don't. So just on the marketing side, it's just shocking what you see sometimes, and it's just common sense sometimes. But we use professional photos. We get all of it. Once we've had that stock photo done, that's kept then, and we can use that for marketing purposes for the lifetime of the property. So as soon as we've done the development, we'll have it dressed and we'll have professional photos taken. And I think the UPAD guy was saying as well the same thing.
So just as one difference there, and just to point out, so that room rental, you could probably imagine they're not going to be too different in terms of size. But that room rental there, for some other landlord, was £300 a month. And you can see ours. Was it there?
They vary in the property. We've got a couple.
Okay, so anything between 500 to 710, 720 we're achieving on our different rooms. So when different landlords have come to us, in the past and said, well, how are you going to make it pay? You spend a lot of money on the development, which we do, similar to Jim really, buy it for one price and nearly double that investment in terms of turning it into a property that's going to, outlast. It just needs to be painted and maintained, all the time. But that's the difference. And when you do that, when you do all the numbers and figure out that, and then apply the commercial value at the end, working with commercial finance, you can then also achieve the same sort of thing. You're pulling all your money back out, or leaving a very nominal amount in. That might be you get back in your first year or 6 months. So there's a big difference.
Yep. Okay, so something else we do, that's what we call a naked room, and that is with clothes on. So naked, clothes on. Naked, clothes on. Right, the point I'm trying to make is, do you think someone would pay 20 quid more for the room? Just for seeing it. Maybe 50 quid, I don't know. So we have now dressing packs, which our lettings team take out, and they might take like a couple of boxes, the different colour codes and different colour schemes. They take the box out and they fill the room, basically, with everything you see there. So it makes it look nice. Someone rents it, all that stuff comes back out, goes back into our storage. So we have about 1 or 2 or 3 on rotation at the moment. We obviously try and re-rent the room before it ever gets empty. Last year, I think we achieved 95.8% occupancy, and we're always pushing rents as well. So we're sitting at the top of the market. So it's quite a tough market. But I think we're doing quite well on it. So that's really what that is. Right, something else we do differently. We had a bit of problem with tenants moving out, and tenants tend to move out, tend to clear the room out, and just leave it a little bit grotty. Has anyone experienced that? But they think in their heads it's clean. Don't know what they're thinking, and they didn't move in that state either. So we thought, how can we overcome this? So we got this document, and you can see it there, nice document, and we said a tenant cleaning guide, and we sent it out to all the tenants, and absolutely nothing changed. All the properties still came back. They had everything cleared out, but there was just dust in the cupboards. There was just still dirt everywhere. So we had a little switch in our head, and we had a thought, what would the tenant want to see? And all we done is change the title to A Guide to Getting Your Deposit Back. That was it. That is all we done. And it's exactly the same document, nothing changed, and suddenly we're getting all these clean properties back. So
even professionally clean, like they know that they want their full deposit back. They're extremely motivated, and that helps them, helps us. We've got no turnaround time, so simple maths.
It's a tiny little psychological thing that worked really well for us. There's a little tip for you guys. So business, we treat our HMO, all of our HMOs as a business. And we've systemised it as a business. Now, this is our model. You probably can't see it, but it starts from sourcing right down to pay down and exactly what to do. So there's triggers of when on a development the flooring goes down, we start the marketing, and all these, each little thing triggers, and each colour code, say, is a person who's responsible for that part of the business. And it goes from start to finish, and that's what we work from, really. Once you see it once, you don't, and you know what's going on, like our team really work off of that. They don't really need to see it again, but it clearly portrays to any investor, bank, or etc. that we're running this as a business, not as just something on the side, which also helps with valuations, like Jim was saying. Hopefully we can get more times than 10 times, but that's something we do. So what we're just saying is to help you maybe question what you're doing and how you're doing it, because we like to do things differently. We love working with people who do things differently. So we like to question with you guys how you're running your businesses, how you're running your property portfolios, and whether there's anything you can add or change and make tweak a little bit better. So you can contact us through emails if you want to get in touch. We do run the odd course here and there, so come and visit us on the website. I'm going to be doing a property ski event as well, which I think there's a link on the website. So if you like skiing and like property, you're more than welcome to come along. And that's pretty much us. Is there anything you want to add, James?
I was just going to say we'll probably be over here or in one of the corners, probably over here afterwards. So if you want to catch some questions or have a speak to us, then you're
follow us on
welcome.
Facebook as well. We post loads of tips as well. I think there's 100 tips on there at the moment, HMO tips and different things we do. There's little videos. So come and visit us on the website.
You need to write a book, Bill.
Hey?
You need to write a book, 100 tips, 101 tips.
No, let's add on to Jim's.
So thank you to everybody for listening, and to Ranjan and Vanish as well for inviting us. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you later on.
Thank you.